Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really major piece of national strategy.
We are.
It's the Australian government's 2025 National AI Plan. And, this isn't just some standard tech roadmap.
No, not at all. It's a massive whole-of-economy framework. It's designed to manage, to harness, and really to govern AI across the entire nation.
It's so ambitious. I mean, it covers everything from these colossal infrastructure investments all the way to digital equity and global cooperation.
It really is a landmark document. So our mission today is to take this plan and, well, distill the core strategic decisions.
Okay.
Because when a major sophisticated economy commits this level of detail to AI, we really need to understand how they're trying to position themselves on the world stage.
It feels like they're trying to find this very delicate balance.
That's it, exactly. It's this incredibly challenging equilibrium between, fueling rapid innovation on one hand while locking in security, equity, and public trust on the other.
What's so fascinating is their starting point. Australia is, well, it seems incredibly AI ready.
Oh, yeah.
In some metrics, they are really punching above their weight.
For sure.
Just think about this. If you adjust for population size, they rank third globally in consumer use of the AI tool, Claude.
Third globally. That points to a really tech-savvy, highly adoptive public, which is a huge advantage.
It's a massive asset, and the capital is following.
Of course.
We saw $700 million in private investment flow into their AI firms in 2024 alone.
And that's just private money. But the real structural strength, I think, is intellectual. Australia produces 1.9% of the world's AI research publications.
Which doesn't sound like a lot until you put it in context.
Exactly. Given their share of global population and GDP, that is significant overperformance.
Right.
It shows they have this deep expertise, especially in really practical sectors like medicine and environmental science.
So they have the talent, they have the public appetite, and they've got the research backbone.
Right.
And this entire strategic framework seems to rest on three big anchoring goals. First, capturing the opportunity.
Building the foundations.
Second, spreading the benefits, making sure everyone gains. And third, keeping Australians safe.
The governance piece.
Exactly. So let's start at the foundation, capturing the opportunity.
This is where we see the really eye-watering figures, especially around the physical infrastructure.
Absolutely. Okay, so Action 1 is all about building smart infrastructure, and the scale of investment here is, well, it's genuinely staggering.
It's hard to get your head around the numbers.
Between 2023 and 2025, companies announced plans for data center investments in Australia that could scale up to more than $100 billion.
$100 billion. And to put that in perspective, in 2024, that ranked them second globally.
Right behind the U.S. The world clearly sees them as a premier compute hub.
But that speed and that scale of investment, while it's impressive, it creates this immediate, enormous sustainability challenge.
The energy problem.
The energy problem. The government just cannot ignore it. Data centers are energy hogs. They were consuming about 4 terawatt hours of power in 2024, which is about 2% of the whole grid's capacity. And that demand is projected to triple by 2030.
Wow. You can't have national decarbonization goals and then just let that explode unchecked.
You can't. They're fundamentally in conflict.
So if they're committed to this growth, how are they managing that power challenge? The plan mentions national data center principles.
It does. They're focused on sustainability and security.
But are these just, aspirational guidelines, or do they have real teeth, especially when you're dealing with $100 billion in private investment?
Well, that's the key tension, isn't it? The principles are designed to set a national standard, to encourage companies to adopt best practices so they stay compliant.
And are operators responding?
We're already seeing it. The source highlights CDC data centers, for example. They're using these advanced cooling systems they call liquid core.
Liquid core, okay.
Think of it like a closed-loop car radiator for servers. It avoids that massive water evaporation you get with traditional cooling towers.
Which saves billions of the liters of water.
Exactly. And this specific site is also offering 100% net zero carbon electricity. So the government is using these principles to incentivize the high-efficiency solutions.
So it's about shifting the conversation from just consumption to responsible consumption.
Precisely.
We also see Action 1 covering the fundamental digital backbone, expanding the national broadband network, investing in 15 submarine cables.
With Google adding 2 more, it's about solidifying their role as this major connectivity point in the Indo-Pacific. You need the fiber pathways before you can even talk about the AI.
Right. And Action 2 moves beyond the wires to backing Australian AI capability itself. They aren't just spreading resources thin here.
Yeah, it's very targeted.
They're strategically focusing on high-value AI in sectors where they already have a natural advantage: healthcare, agriculture, resources.
And this targeted focus is critical. It's backed by serious commitments, too. Over $460 million in existing funding, plus another billion for critical tech under the National Reconstruction Fund.
That's state capital directly funding strategic innovation.
It is.
Let's talk about a real-world example of this. Harrison.ai,
A great one.
a Sydney company, and they're tackling a huge bottleneck in healthcare using AI for radiology.
Their chest X-ray solution can detect up to 124 different findings in under 20 seconds.
20 seconds. That directly impacts the speed and efficiency of medical diagnosis on a global scale.
That's classic high-impact commercialization. But the plan also pushes for something deeper. It's about ensuring local models reflect unique cultural and social contexts.
The data sovereignty angle?
Yes, exactly. The Kakadu National Park project is a fascinating example. You have the Benin traditional owners, CSIRO, and other partners using AI and drones for wetland restoration.
And how does that work?
The key is that the technology is governed entirely by indigenous data sovereignty principles.
Which sounds like it's about more than just standard privacy. What does that mean in practice?
It's about control and governance. It's not just about who sees the data, it's about who decides how it's used and stored. It ensures that the technology, whether it's a drone or an AI model, adheres to the collective cultural governance of the traditional owners.
So it empowers local decision-making rather than usurping it.
Precisely. It keeps ownership of cultural knowledge where it belongs.
That's a powerful application.
Right.
So Action 3 is the final piece of this foundation: attracting investment.
Right, and the government is streamlining this with what they call the investor front door.
To tackle those approval barriers for the big data center projects?
Yeah, it's a proactive approach, but a really major strategic element here is the goal of using domestic capital.
Right, like superannuation funds.
Exactly, to back homegrown AI ventures.
Yeah.
This ensures that the benefits and the equity ownership of all this innovation stays largely within the national economy.
Okay, so the first goal is complete. A secure, high-powered, responsibly managed foundation is being laid. Now we move on to the second goal: spreading the benefits.
And this is really the social asset test of the whole plan.
It's all about ensuring the gains from AI are distributed equitably, that they reduce inequality, not deepen it.
And the existing data shows this is a serious challenge. The digital divide is real. Only 29% of regional organizations adopt AI compared to 40% in metro areas.
That's a big gap.
It's a huge gap. And more broadly, 1 in 5 Australians and 40% of First Nations people are currently digitally excluded. If they don't fix this, AI just becomes a tool that accelerates economic division.
What are the main barriers there? Is it just infrastructure?
It's multifaceted. I mean, connectivity is a factor, of course, but it's also about the cost of access, perceived relevance, and crucially, digital literacy training that's tailored to local industries.
So how are they tackling that?
Well, Action 4, Scaling AI Adoption, tackles this directly through the National AI Center, the NAIC. It's supported by a $17 million program called AI Adopt, which is focused specifically on small and medium businesses.
Trying to make AI accessible and relevant locally?
Exactly. And they're also reaching sectors that usually get overlooked. The collaboration between NAIC and Influx Change to support not-for-profits is a great example.
I saw that. The Digital Transformation Hub helped over 20,000 not-for-profits.
And recorded a 70% increase in confidence among the people they trained. That kind of efficiency gain is vital for essential community services.
Absolutely. So Action 5 is about supporting and training Australians. It puts workers right at the center of this transition.
Which is where they have to be.
Yeah.
The focus is on proactively supporting groups at higher risk of disruption, women, First Nations people, mature-aged workers, to help them transition into these new AI-enabled roles.
And the plan is really specific on workplace rights and risks. It says AI tools for things like, hiring or performance tracking must be introduced with a meaningful consultation.
Right.
What does that consultation actually look like in practice, especially when these tools can increase workplace surveillance?
It means embedding the use of AI into existing industrial relations frameworks. It means employee representatives have to be involved before new AI tools are rolled out.
To mitigate the risks.
To mitigate risks like bias in hiring algorithms or algorithmic discrimination, the plan insists transparency has to come before deployment to maintain fairness and trust.
And the skill side is moving fast. We're seeing huge enrollment in things like the TKFE microcredentials. The responsible AI one has, what, over 150,000 enrollments?
It does. And we're also seeing these very targeted inclusion efforts like the Digital Sisters AI for Good program.
Right.
It's specifically aimed at boosting AI literacy across diverse and underserved communities through 10 community hubs, making sure this critical new literacy isn't just for people already in urban tech sectors.
And finally, Action 6 is where the government leads by example, improving its own public services.
And the potential outcomes here are profound. In public health, the source says AI triage plus screening could lift lung cancer detections at stage 1 from 16% all the way up to 64%.
That is a life-saving improvement, just built on AI efficiency.
And to get those results, you need structural commitment from the top. So the AI plan for the public service requires every single government agency to have a chief AI officer.
So AI integration becomes a core responsibility, not just some IT project.
Exactly. And they are deploying it to solve these massive governmental problems. The Department of Veterans Affairs using an AI search tool. The National Library transcribing 58,000 hours of oral history interviews.
Things humans just couldn't do efficiently at that scale.
Right. So if you look across all these actions, the goal is clear. Make sure the wealth and efficiency from AI flows across society, closing divides rather than creating new ones.
Which brings us to the crucial third pillar, keeping Australians safe. This is where the regulatory rubber really hits the road.
It is. It's all about maintaining public trust and confidence through robust and, importantly, adaptable governance.
And what's interesting is that they aren't starting from scratch. Action 7 is about mitigating harms by building on existing tech-neutral legal frameworks.
They're adapting the rule book, not throwing it out. And the core innovation here is establishing an AI Safety Institute, or AISI.
Let's just clarify its role. It has a powerful dual focus.
Exactly. It looks upstream at how the models are built, monitoring and testing to understand fundamental risks. But it also looks downstream at the real-world effects, the harms people experience.
So it supports existing regulators.
Right, like the Privacy Commissioner and the eSafety Commissioner.
And that technical work is already feeding into some key legal decisions. They're considering criminalizing non-consensual deepfakes.
And restricting those Nudify apps. But on the commercial side, and this is huge, they've ruled out a text and data mining exception in their copyright law.
That is a massive decision. What are the implications of that?
It's a massive policy signal. A text and data mining, or TDM, exception would let AI companies scrape copyrighted workbooks, music, articles to train their models for free. By ruling that out, the government is prioritizing the protection of the creative economy. They're saying AI companies need to negotiate licenses or pay for the content they use.
So it gives creators certainty.
It does, but it could potentially slow down the training pace of those massive foundation models locally. It's a trade-off.
A clear choice to protect content creators. Okay, so Action 8 then shifts to promoting responsible practices through transparency.
Yeah, the NAIC released a guide, being clear about AI-generated content. It encourages businesses to adopt things like labeling, watermarking, metadata.
It's all about trust verification.
It has to be. If the public can't trust what they're seeing is authentic, the whole system just breaks down. And the government is holding itself to the same standard.
Right, with its own policy for responsible use of AI.
Promoting transparency and accountability across the entire public service.
And finally, Action 9 is all about partnering on global norms.
Yeah, Australia is leveraging its status as a reliable middle power, endorsing key agreements like the Bletchley Declaration, the Seoul Declaration.
But the real strength seems to be in the bilateral deals.
I think so. There's strong cooperation with Singapore on AI, a framework with India, and they're working on a technology prosperity deal with the U.S., focused specifically on AI and quantum.
And they're developing a specific strategy for regional leadership in the Indo-Pacific.
Cementing their role in the region.
So what does this all really mean for you, the listener? This national AI plan is, well, it's fundamentally a living document.
It is. It's highly dynamic and adaptive. It recognizes that the tech is evolving so quickly that the strategy itself has to be continuously refined.
And what's most compelling to me is how success is tied directly back to those social goals.
That's the key. It's not just about economic growth or becoming a global AI power. The government's metric for success is fairness, inclusion, and opportunity for all Australians.
It's a very modern, holistic philosophy.
It is. It says that if you don't effectively manage the risks and distribute the benefits widely, the innovation itself will just fail to realize its potential.
That holistic view is exactly what makes this plan stand out. It connects the infrastructure to the culture and the innovation to equity. And it leaves us with one powerful thought for you to explore as this plan unfolds.
Go on.
The document highlights that AI advances are accelerating the development of quantum technologies, which could power much faster AI model training in the near future. Australia just secured $100 billion in announced data center investments, a monumental commitment to classical compute.
Right.
Given that looming shift to quantum-powered computation, how quickly will that massive current investment need to pivot to maintain Australia's competitive edge in this rapidly approaching quantum future?
Something to think about.
Something to think about as the next phase of this plan begins.